Hello and welcome back to the established 1875 YouTube channel. And today I have not got one person, I've got two people. Barney, welcome back, mate. How you doing?
It's always good to be here. Good to be here.
Good man. And we've got him. He's jolly and he's Ollie. Jolly Ollie.
I put a face on and smile shut. No, look, look, I've missed doing all these anyway. Um, so it's been a while coming anyway, and like I said, long may it continue. Got some good content coming out. So yeah, good to be back with the boys.
Mm.
We love it. We're glad to have you back, mate. We thought we lost you somewhere along the pier, but it's
Yeah,
nice to
well,
be back, mate.
well, I noticed the views were going down. So I've had a couple of people saying, that we've missed you and we won't come back unless Ollie's on. That was from my dad. We've also had people. No, no. Look, it's nice to be here. And look, let's get stuck in. Come on, all right? I'm excited about this now.
It's always fighting talk with you all. It's always fighting talk. But look, today, boys, we've got a problem, but it's not a bad problem. It's not like your naughty ex that's trying to get back with you and you want nothing to do with her, right? We're deciding who's our front four, left wing, right wing, striker, cam, right? Because we've got a bit of a problem at the minute, apparently deciding that. All right. Well, John Eustace hasn't. He's kind of got his mind straight. But if we're talking about how we want to mix things up and change things up a little bit, we probably do. We've got QPR coming up. We've got some good games coming up to try and get some different people in. Tonight, after recording this, Causey Adubi just scored a hat trick against Carlisle. I don't know how far you want to look into that, but that's always promising signs. But I'm going to start with you, right? So we'll start off left wing. Buddy, come on. Who's starting at left wing for you?
Um, I think it's going to be Cosbury and Jury. Now that's a double barrel name which I found hard to pronounce last couple of weeks. Even when he came in, I still couldn't. I kept saying the lad from Brighton, or sorry, the lad from Arsenal. Either one of them. He's played for both anyway. He's looked in the two games we've come on like he's got an abundance of pace, control of the ball, and see, I hate going off things like looking at videos from under 21 highlights and assuming that this lad's going to pull up trees because we all know in the championship it's a bit more sort of nitty gritty, and he will get bullied around. The reason I say to put him on the left there as well is because with the absence of, say, Owen Beck, who, we great couple of games, even in spells against Preston, even in spells, he looked probably the more promising player going forward. Um, but I don't think Pickering will get up and down the bar line or carry the ball as well, even though Pickering is, for me, a solid 7 out of 10 player. So we need something to be doing a more or less of more of the running. You know, Baker was okay against Bristol City, foot on the ball, let players come into it. But I think Cosby Dewberry needs to on the left, a lot more energy, drift inside. I'm excited to see what this lad can do from the start.
Yeah, I think you bang on there. I think with Cozy Dewberry, I've been lucky enough to see him play in person. Not against anything special. When I was at Swindon, that job that isn't real, lol. When I was there, he actually did played against the first
Who's
team.
Swindon?
Ah, mate. All right, come on. Let's not start this now. Let's not start this now. Handbag away, handbag away. But I actually did get to see little glimpses of him and that Ethan Anwary. And he looked good. I can't really speak much from that though. It was one little game against Swindon, but that's it. But what about you? Come on, tell us, Barney. Left winger, who you going for?
Well, I mean, we forget for the first time in a while watching Blackburn, we've got some very good options. I mean, Arnold Sigurdsson was at the game at Preston. He did warm up, but he wasn't in the subs or the starting 11. We've still got players like Ryan Hedges and Dolan that can play out there well. I mean, they've started the season very well. I don't think they had their best games against Preston, but they definitely can show in the next fixtures against QPR they can do much better. Because we do, does look like a class above, especially on the ball when you see him with the ball at his feet. He moves with it very well, can move the ball very well. And when these players come down from the Prem, they normally have a point to prove. They normally have come from a big academy where a lot's been given to them, and then they come down here and they want to do well. They want to improve. And it's funny when Ola's talking about we need someone on that left. to cover for Pickering when he comes in. Pickering's more defensively minded, and I think that might be a good idea. But I think players like Koza Dubry and Cantwell, who have played in the Prem and played at a much higher level than Championship, are even better defenders than one at Championship level. I think just because of how quick the football is at the level above, they just come down and they're just naturally better. So I think eventually these players like Cosby Dewberry and Cantwell, which I'm sure we'll get onto in a minute, will be starting more in the future, be playing more in the future, and be integral parts of our season.
Yeah, I think with Kozia Dubry, I think he's a very I think we're very blessed to have him on loan. I think people don't realise that the reason he left Arsenal to go to Brighton is because Brighton originally promised him game time, and then there was a lot of signings there from after, and it was kind of like, oh, they put him in this position where he was like, he's not the happiest, but he'll go out on loan somewhere, and he's with us, and he's somebody who, if you look at, he's a tiny man, he's a very small man, but he's got twinkle toes, and I've seen them myself. He's got twinkle toes, and when he came on against Preston for a little bit, he looked quite lively. I think physicality wise, maybe something to work on. But I think when you've been gifted something, like you see it with a lot of players, when you're gifted that something, physicality sometimes goes out the window. But moving on from the left wing, we'll go to the other side. We'll go to the right wing. Barney, I'll start off with you this time. I'll give you the honours. Who do you think starting right wing?
Right wing, it is hard. I always think that a good winger, should always be able to play both sides. And I think Kofi Drury can do that. I also think Tyrese Dolan can do that. Tyrese Dolan's very flexible. And he has started the season well. If he scores against Preston, trust me, we'd be on here talking today about Tyrese Dolan being our saviour, being the player of the match. And it just didn't work out for him. It didn't work out for him against Burnley as well. He was very unlucky, screwed by the officiating. So I don't think you can argue that Tyrese Dolan shouldn't be in the team. I think Tyrese Dolan will start the game. Depends where he plays though, because the front line's got some great players that can play everywhere. I think Wyman gives you a good shift at any of those forward positions. I think Hedges still needs to play. Hedges has been really good. So I think they'll probably play Dolan out there. I think.
And Ollie, come on, what about you, mate? Who do you think should be starting out on the right?
Um, I concur with what Barney was saying there, actually. I think Hedges, for me, first and foremost, I think is a little bit burnt out at the moment. And I know we're saying that 6 games in, but you look at the array of talent we've got to choose from. And just to quote as well, we all seem to do quite well with players on loan from Brighton. It's a nice little connection we've got there. Same as what we've got with, say, Liverpool as well. Vyman, as for a guy who's 34 years old, so only 3 years younger than me, he has a lot of still energy. I think positioning really good. Dolan, the number 8, I'm still as confused as why. Um, when he was so ineffective against Preston, I can only think that use has remained and kept on the pitch purely because he just thought, look, he's going to go at him now with 10 men. I would have changed it up a bit more earlier, maybe put Dolan out a bit more. Hedges looked like he wasn't working. And yeah, again, Hedges can play with his left, he can play with his right, he drifts inside. It's I would probably go and say something like Dolan. I'd love to see. I know we're going to talk about it yet again, but I want to see someone different in that number 8 position, or if not, just playing the front three. And that could very well be an opportunity for Cantwell.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I'm going to put it out there, boys, and I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to be devil's advocate or anything, but I don't really like Hedges as a player when it comes to that right wing position. He's not my cup of tea. Is it because I've got a bit of bias where I prefer a bit more pace down the wings than what Hedges has got? I'm not too sure, but I'd like to see Hedges go in the middle. I wouldn't mind seeing Hedges in like a cam type of position, but for me, right wing, I know I'm getting funny looks, and I know people watching this are probably going to be giving me funny looks, but I can't get behind Ryan Hedges. I know the goal against Watford, and I know he has his little moments, and I just think apart from the start of this season, he's not that consistency that we've ever really needed from a player. And for me, I probably would push Tyrese Dolan out onto that right. But I'm tired of the looks that I'm getting from you two. I can see you two in the background there giving
Well, I mean,
the
I'm just going to
wall.
throw something in there. The thing with Ryan Hedges, and I think Rovers fans might, agree or disagree for me. I don't think I think the one thing that pops into people's heads when they think Ryan Hedges is pressing away 2 years ago, where all he had to do was put the ball into the corner, have a shot on goal, and it's just that moment in football where 20 seconds later it's booted down and press and equalise. I think sometimes it's hard to get moments like that out of your head. Yes, he's had his moments of brilliance, and I still think there's a player there who's got bags of energy. Um, he likes to go at people, but I just think at the moment he is a bit burnt out for me personally. But we've got a squad full of talent. What a position to be in.
Like, yeah, like we keep saying, I think we can't complain about this problem we've got. We're sat here, right? We're sat here this time. I remember the end of not last season, but the season before. I remember we were sat here and we were thinking to ourselves, bloody hell, we've only got certain players who can do certain things. And as soon as you remove them from the squad, what have you got? You take Adam Morton out, what have you got from there? And now we're sat here, I'm like, who do we play? How do we want to approach this team? And that's not a bad thing whatsoever. And I think looking now in a position that it's been weird seeing Tyrese play this like middle role, but who do you think should be starting at Cam? I'll start with you this time.
Me, you told me.
No, Ollie.
Oh, go on, Ollie.
Well, in what position?
Cam.
In the sense, well, I said before, I mean, I would go Todd Canwell in the Tyrese Dome position, was what he's been playing just behind sort of the front three. Um, I don't yet again the conversation at the moment seems to be, is Oashi a starter? Is Gay a starter? Who works better than working working and chasing and hustling the defense and everything else and trying to get the ball back. But for me, Cantwell, when he came on against Preston, obviously he's getting rid of this tag. He's got the silky blonde hair, as you can tell, something I had back in the day. Lethargic sort of player, socks rolled down. He gives off that sort of attitude vibe. And this is a marquee signing for Blackburn Rovers, by the way. Okay, this is a guy who we were rumored a while ago. Where for Rangers, he's come. I think obviously up in Scotland, you pretty much judged on the Celtic Rangers game. Anything else is kind of obsolete in the nicest possible way because it's a weak league. It's a terribly weak league up there, barring sort of those two teams. I think in there at times that there's a player who you can easily pass the ball through the eye of a needle. I think he can arrive late in the box, but I think he needs time to get into the game. When he came on against Preston, 20 minutes, they were shut up shop. I was looking for probably more like Cosby Drewbury to come on a bit more earlier, break the back line. And Cantwell, he was just really just getting fouled and pushed over all over the pitch. But I think from the start, as long as he's protected by somebody in the midfield and he's allowed to go a bit more forward, I think he's the perfect man for this game.
Yeah, and do you know what? I like that analogy because I think that with Cantwell, I think that he's somebody who you bring into a club like Blackburn. And I saw something on Instagram, he could be on like 20/30K a week, right? Which is a whopping wage. And that's why you don't want to rush him though. Like people are like, oh, he's on that much money, get him in there, play him. You don't want him injured for the rest of the season on 20/30K a week. That's absolutely outrageous. You know what I mean? We always complain about the wages we're giving out to people. And if that's true about Todd Cantwell, then we need him. We need him in the team. And I think if we can unlock his potential, like you said, through other people protecting him, I think you've got a hell of a player who tears up the championship to absolute bits and can't be stopped. But to also get that, we need somebody like Cantwell at Norwich always had Pucky. I feel like a
Mm.
lot of the time he had that player that he knew if you get him through one on one with the keeper, he's scoring 9 times out of 10. Or Hashi, can he be that player? It looks like it so far, but that's whether he can maintain that. But come on, Barney, what do you think? Do you think it's Cantwell time?
So yeah, this is the thing. When you talk about protecting a player, I always think if a team goes out of their way to facilitate one player, of course it's going to be to the detriment of the whole team as a whole. I think that's what happened with us last year. We put all of our eggs in the Smodic basket, and he did keep us up, but we cut it really close. Like we sacrificed basically all of our attacking plays just so we could get the ball to Smodic more because he was the only one likely to score. And I don't think that's the case this year. And I would be really wary of Blackburn Rovers putting all of our eggs in a Cantwell basket if it ever came up. I think he's got to come play, but he's got to come play in the Eustace style. And he's got to play in a way that not only helps Blackburn, but helps all of his teammates. And I think that is very important because he is a very creative player. And I think when he came on against Preston, which I want to see Eustace do more, I want Eustace to be more aggressive with the subs. I think that's one thing you can kind of critique him with. He's brought on people that have scored, but I wanted to be more aggressive with them, change the game a bit more with them. And I wish Cosby came on a bit earlier, wish Campbell came on a bit earlier, because these players can change the game. And he did. He came in, he was the one picking up the ball most of the time and driving with it. We didn't get close as you would have thought. I think Hayden Carter had most of our chances actually putting the ball in from the right back spot. But I would like Cantwell to start, get bedded into the team, and then elevate this team because he's got that quality. We all know he's got that quality, and I'd like him for him to show it.
Yeah, and I think that with what you've said, I think what it was Schmodix was what I thought it was anyway. As soon as we realised, wow, this man's got this finishing ability, that's when we did become reliant because there were so many games where we didn't find it elsewhere. I don't think Cantwell's that type of player where he is a finisher. He'll get double digits in a season. And I think we already saw a glimpse of that with Schmodix before anyway, before the whole big season happened. We already knew we could find the back of the net. We just didn't know he could find it as much as he did. And I think with Cantwell, I think he's more of like you said, he's a very creative player. Like Ollie said, he can find a pass, the fine little passes that other players who play in similar roles in the championship just can't find because he is very high end slash low end Premier League level player. And at the end of the day, I think that with that type of player, it's going to work in your favor or it's going to work completely against you because when you've got someone, is he going to be able to find that someone up front? And I think that's what we're going to move on to now. I think for me, it's an easy answer, and I'll get mine out there straight away. I think that I think it's very dependent on the team we're playing when we start our strikers, and it's a nice one to have. If it's a physical game, if we're going up against Stoke, if it's going to be physical, it's going to be tough. I think Maktar's gear starts every game, no matter what. Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're playing them games that you know you're only going to get a couple of chances a game, or two, two, three, four chances a game, Ohashi's got to start because you know he can. You know the finishing abilities there. You put him through one on one, and from what we've seen so far, you hope he's scoring every time. But go on, Barney, what do you think on that?
Well, I think Eustace sometimes can try to put himself in a bit of a box. With the 4-2-3-1, he likes to play, and it does work. We started really well, but I wouldn't be against seeing him try the big man, little man up front. Going back to a Barclays era type strike partnership. It'd be beautiful to see, but I think Ohashi and Gay could work so well together. I mean, Gay's a big lad, and Ohashi's quite quick, quite technical. You want to see that if they can work together and they can both, combine on a football field. Why wouldn't we play them together? So, but like you said, it's all about opponents. It's all about being tactical with our decisions. It's about being obvious. I thought the MacDar game should have started against Preston. Preston are like known for being a big team, aggressive team. Not to say cheating per se, but they know the dark arts a bit. If you watch them, they're always nibbling at any team, especially if it's Blackburn. They want to win the derby. It makes sense. So it does matter who we play. And I think talking against a team like QPR, they're quite technical. They like to get the ball on the ground. I can only really ever remember them having two or three big men. They're centre backs, and they've got a big lad up front now called Frey. But apart from that, I think we should go with Ohashi. Ohashi at home definitely could be a bit of a theme for the rest of the season.
And Ollie, go on. What about you?
I mean, I know we've not spoken for a while, guys, but we've probably said it prior to coming on. It's just a great headache to have because back in the last season, I think Eustace's comments were, "I've only really got 14 players to work with," and that was you could see that really. And now we've just got this headache of options. Yeah, again, I think we've overcome some sort of hurdles this season. I mean, for me, one of them is coming back from losing position and gaining points, whether that be Oxford at home. People might say, "Oh, look at the opposition," but getting a draw at Burnley away, getting a draw from Norwich from losing positions, I think is good omen because last season we really did struggle. But I'm worried about Owashi burning out. He's come straight from the Japanese league, and there's I think there's an argument to say he probably could end up playing a whole 12 months. And I obviously don't know what the level's like in Japan. Definitely not what he's in the championship. However, you'd think the guy's been in the championship before. Bundles of energy, runs like a Duracell bat, like a Duracell rabbit, as they say. But he's full of life. But Gay, for example, he's been a menace since I've seen him sort of play. And it's just great that if a defense is lagging, you can throw in someone like Owashi, who burns the lines, chases defenders down, and it's the kind of football you'd love to see. It's the hard work and skills, the embodiment for us there. But Barney said perfectly before, if you're going to quote Barclays, man, you know what I mean? We all remember sort of the heyday. Was it Paul Dickoff? Chef Takuchi, there's a big man, little one, going back all those years. Pettis on the left. But yeah, I think Gay will start probably up front. For me personally, yes.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we can agree on. I think it's a difficult slash good like place to be in. And I don't think we can sit here and complain too much, but then we can also sit here and go after a game if we lose 1-0 and it didn't go our way, we can also then sit there and go, we should have started him, we should have started him, we should have started him. And that's when the problems start. But there you go. I'm going to put on the screen now the overall who was the highest percentage picked player of who should be playing. And hopefully, you guys agree, it'll be on there. But yeah, Barney, thank you for joining us, mate.
No worries. Cheers. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Ollie, as well.
Yeah, cheers, mate, lads. Great to be back.
Aye, Ollie, come on, mate. You can be a bit more enthusiastic than that if you want to.
No, hello, I'm chuffed to be back. There we are, right, cool. Back in the game.
Thank you all for watching. I'll put everyone's socials down below. I'll put Barney's and Ollie's socials down below. Make sure to give them both a follow. Top lads, like, subscribe, do all that cute stuff, and we'll see you again in the next video.